Hello everyone, welcome to a very spooky night. I'm your host DTM and we're on our 32nd installment of the State of FEH Podcast. With me, as always, we have Oblivion and Joel from Phaeology. How are you two doing so far?
Doing good. It's been an exciting week, so a lot of fun.
I'm not doing good. You know why? we just came back from a costume party, and of course my wife and kid look amazing, and they threw together a ninja costume for me with this like rope belt and a sheet over me. Like it's just a black sheet, and it kept on billowing up, so my costume was a pregnant ninja. Yeah, that's what it kept looking like. So I was like, all right, we'll go with
that's amazing.
Ninja. That's what we'll go with.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's great.
Man, I sort of miss those Halloween days when I was like a child, just like going to get candy. Obviously, now that I'm in the corporate machine, I can't really do that anymore as much.
You can buy your own candy now.
Yep. Love the experience. It's so great.
Yeah. Not quite the same.
Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, we do have a full slate of changes this past month. It's been a pretty eventful past month, if I do say so myself. Quite a lot of spooky new units that have joined us. And I guess we can start with the spookiest unit of them all. The one that will always jump scare you. That's right, it's Emblem Sigurd. And I mean, it's true, right? Like, he does have quite a bit of range. Like, our second consistent 6-range unit. I think the first one is Celica, but he's melee instead of range this time.
Right.
Yeah. I think the only other times we had like 6-range, and I'm talking like weapon range and not like movement range, is like dual Nina and who was the other one? I could have sworn there was actually another one. I can't remember.
There was.
Kagro?
I'm blanking, but yeah.
Kagro, I think.
Duo Kagro?
Wait, no. Was it Nina with
I don't remember.
Kagro?
I don't have her. Yeah. No. It was the one with the Wind Tribe, right? The same Wind Tribe banner.
Oh, yeah. Okay, it was Kagro, right. It's just that Kagro was also on Nina, I think. I remember now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, anyways, yes, Emblem Sigurd has appeared, and he has Gallop as an effect, which gives a unit 2 movement extra instead of 1 this time. I think all of us, honestly, has summoned for Emblem Sigurd. And so I guess just to open us up, what are your overall thoughts on Emblem Sigurd in general, like across the various modes?
Okay, this one's hard because there are two different things warring within me. I don't know how good he is for the game because, and we've talked about this to death, the maps are just too small for that much movement. But like as far as how he plays, it's very, very fun to play with Sigurd. Like it's on your team, he's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
unless you're DTM and playing SD, but we won't talk about that stream.
I kind of agree. Like, I think when it comes to like the health of the game, I'm a bit nervous that they're introducing this high mobility, right? Because like he might be the first, but he won't be the last. I think we can kind of all agree on that. Like at some point, if maybe it's a year, maybe it's next month, who knows? But I'm sure we will get another Gallop unit eventually, and I think the best answer to that is to like make a new game mode, which we've all been saying for forever, but making a new game mode that is on the bigger maps would be really nice. I love that a ton because it would still be really powerful, but it'd be less, broken, especially with Pathfinder. They keep pushing more and more Pathfinder. So I think that's like my biggest concern when it comes to Sigurd, like for health wise. When it comes to him as a unit, he's obviously really, really strong, right? It's been kind of like a 1-2 punch with melee nukes. Theox came first and like really started to make near saves look nice, and then Sigurd came and it's like, well, now everyone's using near saves because they're too horrifying, right?
Yeah, right. It's funny because as like with the introduction of Shield Fighter, we've started to see the value of ranged nuking start to go down because there's just so few nukes that are able to get through the shield fighter far saves that we have. And so we're starting to see a turn towards melee nukes, basically, with Felix, and now with Sigurd. And so, yeah, it's very interesting how that play out to the point where maybe like people are starting to run near saves. In my SD run, I've seen people run near saves, and it's very annoying because near saves, even with the power of Emblem Sigurd and Felix and whatnot, like if you have like a dedicated like frontline or like a near save unit, like there's no getting through that. Like my Emblem Sigurd tinged against a bunch of the near saves that I faced, unfortunately. And it's going to be interesting to see how like the meta shakes up with that, because obviously you can only get one save between near and far. So I guess it's like the balance act between the two.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely true. I mean, Sigurd and Felix can kill near saves. It's just not easy, right? So like that's scary in itself. I think I don't know. We'll get the shield fighter eventually, but man, shield fighter. I don't know if it was necessary. Like it's so strong. Like it's so annoyingly strong. At least with Hardy Fighter, you could like try to like set up your nuke so that the big hit was after the defensive special, but then you really can't do it all that well. You still can, but it's not as easy. And
you can, but it's
right.
The fourth hit on a brave attack. I mean that's so stinking specific.
Right. And so it's just made the game really interesting. But when it comes to Sigurd, like obviously I think we can all agree he's really good in pretty much every game mode. I've seen him in either his offense, defense, and summoner duels. I mean, I guess we could consider arena and stuff too, but mostly those three game modes I've seen him, and he's strong. He's really strong. Like they've made some really powerful preference skills, or preference specials, I guess I should say. All the Emblem heroes have had preference specials, so
right.
I'm kind of scared to see what the next one is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I will say, I haven't really noticed Emblem Sigurd's impact on defense since I just Gale Force everything. But yeah, like one thing that I think is really good with Emblem Sigurd, because we're starting to see the return of cav teams, basically. We're starting to get more SD maps that are more friendly to cavs after a period where we've gotten a bunch of maps that are pretty hostile. And one thing that is really cool is that Brave Crom can take the Gallop from Emblem Sigurd and apply it to himself. I'm just saying, Brave Crom just keeps getting better and better as more effects like these come out. And like obviously with the Pathfinder,
I thought he got worse and worse because of Hræsvelgr, but that's just what I was told.
What?
Wait, Crom?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
I haven't heard this.
Hræsvelgr goes off of the opponent's bonuses. So the more bonuses you have, the more true damage you have. It's a bad joke. I'm sorry. We'll get to Hræsvelgr.
No,
we'll get to Hræsvelgr.
I gotcha.
Please go ahead.
But yeah, like I the first thing that came up to my mind when I saw Emblem Sigurd was like a Brave Crom Emblem Sigurd like Pathfinder team, which is pretty classic. I will say I did notice this when using that Brave Crom Emblem Sigurd team in SDS. The fact that he gets Gale Force off of the AoE special that he has is really, really bad in an SD context, because it means that you can't Canto away. And that was partly one of the reasons why I lost a particular match with the Emblem Sigurd team. It's obviously really, really good in Aether Raid's offense, because it's just, Gale Force, basically for free. But yeah, it's interesting how in that particular context it serves as a hindrance.
Yeah, I mean, in every other mode, it's amazing. Just not in SD. You really want the Canto immediately, and there's no practical way to turn that off. Like there have been times where you could kind of finagle it, but I mean, not hitting 2 units is near impossible with that much AoE range.
I think I'll be the one dissenter here. I actually like that it still gives an extra action, even though it makes it so it's not easy to save Sigurd. But like in a lot of my experience in those kind of teams, unless it's like the end of the match, like you have units like Yunaka, right, where you're trying to like kind of save her towards the end so that you can keep doing the Canto, right, and using her to kill everything. But Sigurd is kind of like you want to go in kind of first, right? Because he's weakening the entire team. He's gonna be the one that can bust a lot of saves. So the fact that he can just sit there and threaten the enemy team, even though he does die really easily, I still kind of enjoy that to an extent. Because it allows me to do other things by other units while they're trying to deal with Sigurd. So I'm not the biggest hater of it. I mean, there's definitely weaknesses to it.
That's true. I mean, it definitely forces the opponent to make a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Like they no longer, it's no longer a thing where, oh, Sigurd's already moved, I can ignore him for now and go for other folks. It's
right.
No, this guy has to go.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
And so like it's really important that like when you do go in with Emblem Sigurd, you make sure that it is worth it and you just don't lose a Sigurd for free, essentially, without killing a high value unit. It could be the save. Although, unfortunately, Shield Fighter exists, which is really unfortunate, but it's fine. Yeah. What sort of counterplays have you been seeing people use against Emblem Sigurd?
Near saves, like really strong near saves. I've seen like a few Omni tanks like Tamara I've seen, and like Sheeta work against them pretty well. Like he's definitely not like unbeatable, but you just have to like know what you're doing, I guess. Like, which I do like. That's like something I kind of miss with old school FEH. It was like it was a lot about knowing matchups and knowing like how to execute strategies correctly. And there's a bit of that with Sigurd, which I do like, even though a lot of times it is him just running in and AoEing the entire team. But when it's not, it usually comes down to like the other player knowing what they're doing.
I mean, near save Nagi.
Yep.
That's throw Shield Fighter on her, and there's not a whole lot she dies to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it took me 3 combats to kill her with Felix on the E3A's defense map. She did have Hathrin support, to be fair, but still.
Yeah, and yeah, Hathrin and Breath of Life, even if it's halved by Fatal Smoke, obviously does help against the AoE of Emblem Sigurd. I've seen Breath of Life, Tamara basically get reduced down to 1, heal to 7, and then Sigurd does like 3 damage afterwards in total, which is honestly really funny. But yeah, like obviously like Emblem Sigurd is definitely very strong, especially with the 6 range. But there are specific counterplay options, and it'll be really interesting to see in SDR, which should be out by the time this video comes out, what people will do to not only counter him, but just like how the meta evolves in general. Because SDR is definitely a different beast than SDS.
Yes, definitely. I'm really not looking forward to SDR this season.
Don't worry, we have our Lord and Savior, brave female Robin, with the ice to stop any sort of shenanigans.
See, that's not what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the offensive strats. I'm worried about the people who are just gonna sit there with Hathrin and like their save with Shield Fighter and just not let me kill them. That's what I'm worried about.
That is true. Yes. Oh boy. Are we going to be in a super tanky meta or super offensive meta? Time will tell, I guess.
Tanky. I think it's 100% tanky.
It's probably tanky, yeah.
It depends on what part of the week.
That's true. That's true.
You like early, like at reset. Normally, what rules, and this changes obviously per map, but I think on average, normally the really offensive strats rule the beginning of it, and by the end of it, everyone's figured out, and it swings more towards the tanky. But to your point, I wonder if by Sunday, like it's just gonna be like tank on tank the whole time.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what's going to happen. Like Hathrin definitely has made tanking strategies a lot more strong, I guess would be a way to put it.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's something else.
We didn't talk much about
this year.
Go ahead.
It's a real competition this year as to who is the most overtuned unit. Like they're really they keep on trying to outdo themselves.
That's fair.
Yeah. We didn't really talk about the Sigurd ring yet. What would you say is the best users of Sigurd ring, or who you've been finding really appreciates it from what you've been using? I
kind of just throw on whoever. Like it. I mean, it's nice. Like it's definitely good. I haven't found it to be like Celica ring levels of like where I'm like, oh man, I really need this. So I've mostly been using it on my cav teams to just have like another 4 movement cav, or I've been using it on like a flyer, so that flyer can have 3 movement, because that tends to be pretty good. Like a flying nuke like Micaiah uses it pretty well. So stuff like that. I'm trying to think of anything. Yeah, pretty much those.
So I'm not going to say these are the best users of it, but these are like my favorite just because they make such interesting things. Lumera is like so much fun versus ice. Like she just disintegrates ice because you put drag back on her. You drag back your player phase unit that's not Felix and canto her into range. And then she just erases the ice, and then your player phase folks just run in and destroy things. And the other one is dancers. It's really nice to have the 1 extra movement on your Aether Raids dancers. That can come in really handy. And of course, having it on Attuned Azura. The horse Azura. That means she almost keeps up with Sigurd. And if you're like in the PvE mode, which I mean, if everyone saw PM1's post, I mean that's getting pretty ridiculously easy, but having her just fly across the map with 4 movement, that's a lot of fun there too.
Yeah, Attuned Azura definitely is one of the better users. I think melee cavs in general with the Emblem Ring is probably the biggest upgrade, the class with the biggest upgrade from this ring, because melee cavs previously were basically locked on the question of whether or not they had extra movement. Basically, to be viable, unless you do something really special like Brave Crom or Rearmed Lucina back in the day, you basically wanted extra movement, but now you can just give it to everyone. And so that makes it so that a lot more melee cavs can be competitive. Range flyers as well also were really good, again, because of trying to get the 5 range that is most of the time the limit, the max of threat range. What would you say is... So it's interesting when we compare like the emblem unit versus the emblem ring itself. Like in the past, like say for Marth, we would say like the ring is more impactful or better than the unit. In which case would Sigurd be? Would you say the unit or the ring is better?
My vote is unit.
So it's more of an Ike situation for you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think it's dead even, but I don't think either are as influential. Like the most influential ring is obviously Celica. Right. And the most influential emblem is Ike. And he didn't reach either of those levels. But the ring is quietly very good.
It's very good.
I mean, the unit is not so quietly good. So
right.
So I guess I'm agreeing with Oblivion, but I'm saying it's close. Like they're both really good.
And eventually, time wise, the ring will end up being better. You know what I mean? Eventually, Sigurd will fall off. Yeah. So there's that. But Sigurd right now is really strong.
Right. Yeah.
I will say AoEs have a history of lasting longer than a lot of other things. But I mean, we've seen how fast things move, and Breath of Life is here and everything else. So that could be different this time around.
My main concern when it comes to longevity of Emblem Sigurd is that a lot of his damage potential comes from his AoE special. And in general, that does age really well. But recently, basically this year, we've gotten a lot of tools to counter it, from like Breath of Life to most prominently Hathrin, which has definitely put AoE Gale Force stonks personally a bit lower than they might have been before her. And without that AoE, Sigurd, I find, can struggle to do damage outside of that. Again, this is something that we'll have to see how it goes long term, and whether or not AoEs continue to get nerfed, or whether they will gain a resurgence or something like that. But yeah, when it comes to like longevity of the unit itself, that is something to like look at.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. AoEs kind of go in cycles, so it's kind of weird. Like AoEs get really strong, and then a lot of things happen where like AoEs kind of fall off, and then they come back. So that's kind of what I expect to happen here as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some new skill that kind of like makes AoEs a little bit weaker, other than just Hræsvelgr. Hræsvelgr herself is just kind of, oh man, that unit. She just adds that extra bulk to make things annoying.
Thank God she doesn't hit hard. That
is true.
Can you imagine
that's fair.
If you added that on? Like, she was already overtuned. I can see them giving her some skill that made her hit hard as well, and oh god, that would be terrible.
We are getting beast skills lately. You never know.
Oh, yeah. Well, I thought about it. I was looking at her with a sturdy beast. Throw momentum on there, and suddenly you're proccing those like crazy.
No. The strat is to use the new beast skill, Nimble Beast, and speed stack Hræsvelgr. And there you have your offensive speedy melee nuke.
Oh, man.
Who needs Felix, right? Who needs Sigurd?
Oh,
we have player face Hræsvelgr right there. Yeah.
Yep.
With Nimble Beast. We can talk about Hræsvelgr, who's the most recent mythic, literally released yesterday.
Before you go, we need to talk about one other thing.
Yes.
And that is the best melee nuke in the game right now, which is Harmonic Carla.
She is quite strong.
Yeah,
she is quite strong.
And the reason we should talk about it right now is because of that Momentum 4 skill, which is very amazing, and is the only reason we don't see it more is because no one wants to fodder their Sigurd away.
That's true, but I also feel like Momentum, there's only like a few units that most effectively uses that skill, as opposed to say like Potent or something. I've been thinking of like what I would put Momentum on potentially, and I really couldn't think of many units besides like Carla. I was contemplating like Brave Crom, but I don't know if like Potent would have been better with like No Quarter or something. I don't know. It's an interesting skill for sure, though, especially for a unit like Carla, who has a lot of power in her special.
I would have loved to get it on Nana as well for the exact same reason. The whole turning off the defensive specials is so huge.
Yes.
But that's, if you guys see the Momentum Hatari Carla run, just
yes.
Yeah. I've seen it on Duo Carla, like Spring Carla.
Spring Carla.
Sorry, I meant Spring Carla. I'm sorry, I meant Spring Carla. That's wrong. Carla. There's too many alts now.
There's too many alts of Carla, who's like, if you've played the game, she's the most side character in the world. You can literally miss her like so easy. That doesn't really matter, but I'm just saying, like, it's crazy.
What game is she? She was in FE6, right?
Yeah, FE7.
Okay, FE7.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Fur that was in FE6. Right. Okay.
Yeah, right. Her daughter.
I see. But yeah, Carla is definitely one of the biggest beneficiaries of the Sigurd ring and Momentum and all that good fodder, definitely. Anyways, Hræsvelgr, our newest mythic, our newest light mythic, and at least power-wise, has quite the tepid reaction, I would say. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's the case so far. I mean, I haven't tested her. I don't have her. I didn't end up pulling, first time for Oblivion. But
yeah,
she hits really hard. The little I've seen, she hits really hard, which isn't too surprising considering her true damage is uncapped. I think most people's problems, at least mine, was that she does a lot of cool things, but none of them are like ultra unique or ultra powerful. They're just like solid. You know what I mean? That's where I'm at least. And I don't know. I've seen some other people with different takes on her, but I feel like that's the overall community feels like she's good, but she's not like top tier meta good.
Hey, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on this. I feel like the entire community would feel different about her if her share was better.
That is true.
That is also,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was not expecting a blue mythic. I made all the assets for a colorless mythic, and then it was blue, and I had to redo all of them. I was so mad. But yeah, the share's just so bad. I just never expected that to happen.
I was talking in the members chat, and this is so. KCB is the one who said that Hræsvelgr was coming up, and I was in there. I was like, "There's no way, guys. I would expect something else. Like they'll do something weird, like Fafnir or something." Nope, they blazed right ahead with Hræsvelgr, and that share is just terrible.
The thing is, I was thinking like she would be the skipped unit of this year, but it seems like it's gonna probably not. Maybe it's Leithdr, maybe it's Nidhogg, who knows? But I was expecting it to be her.
It's probably going to be Leithdr, just judging how Fafnir turned out. Which honestly, I think is fine.
No, it can't be. It can't be. They put too much time into the unique weapon. Lorather is going to be. He's going to be there because that weapon is just going to absolutely cause chaos.
It's going to kill the game. I don't think they should release it.
I mean,
for good players, it's going to be annoying. For bad players,
it will get rid of like saves and things like SD, which I think will actually make SD a lot more, I guess, not tank reliant or whaley or anything like that, which I think could be a good thing potentially if we don't have to rely on saves anymore or have to deal with saves anymore with Shield Fighter.
Let's see after this week. Like we're seeing the bulk meta at its peak right now, and so we're about to see how unpleasant it gets.
We think we don't know that. We think that.
I think this is the best opportunity for us. I think if it's gonna happen, like this is probably when it's gonna happen.
I mean, it would be like the end of November. My thing is just like from like a competitive standpoint, right? Like we're thinking like, oh, high end, top tier SD gameplay. Sure, it could definitely make it interesting. I prefer a more nuky meta than a tanky meta too. But when you're thinking it from like a casuals perspective, right? That's not gonna be fun. That's gonna be really not fun. Especially if he's a defense
very frustrating
mythic.
Mechanic.
Right, if he's a defense mythic and like he just turns off saves. Imagine if he's Anima and not even Dark, right? Because if it's in Dark, at least it's like Dark will be the anti-save season. You just don't use saves there. But if it's an Anima season, there's mythics on both sides to turn off saves now. That is not fun for a casual player.
I think he's gonna be a legendary.
Really?
I never thought that. Maybe. I mean.
I am not sitting here saying that makes sense, but neither did Eitri. I mean,
I guess Eitri being legendary was interesting decision.
I'm more
5.
I'm more looking at how many mythics we have out, and versus it's time for a legendary and an emblem hero. But I don't think we're gonna get that. But I don't know. Like December is where patterns go to die. Like it's this time of the year is just crazy.
I mean, I think we're all expecting an Emblem Hero at the end of December, but like who knows? November is normally when we get a double banner, but
right.
You get a double banner. It's normally a mythic and a legendary.
Right.
So yeah, maybe Leithdr will be a legendary, I guess. Huh.
No.
Yeah.
Is that good or is that better or worse though?
I don't know. I've been going through my head. I don't know. It really poops on Arena, which that poor mode has just been decimated with terrible design
Would it
decisions.
change? I don't think people use saves in Arena, do they?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Definitely.
And Marnie is just about to come out.
I guess
she's going to be the
Marnie
most popular
now,
score bot in the game.
That's definitely
Vigard.
Yeah.
Actually, Murdoch I see him a ton. They're the highest scoring units in the game. I mean, that's as far as score bots go, they're fantastic.
Right.
Sorry, as far as scoring goes,
okay.
they're not fantastic to play with.
Marnie, I'm sure, is doing pretty well right now, assuming you have like the investment to it. But yeah. Anyways, back on Hræsvelgr. I think we went on a pretty big sidetrack there. But yeah, I think my main issue with Hræsvelgr is she's trying to be like a melee nuke, right? In similar vein to Felix and to a lesser extent Sigurd. The main problem is that she needs Selka Ring in order to have the 5 range that Felix has, because she cannot get extra movement from Sigurd Ring. She already has extra movement from the Beast Transformation, so that doesn't really do anything. They don't stack. And so, of the 2 units, would you give it to Felix Ring, or would you give it to like Hræsvelgr? I think you just give it to Felix, This is not assuming banning or vetoing or anything like that, obviously, or like any mind games like that. But like, she'll just go in and nuke and not really do anything special. She would in a mode like SD, or even like Ether Raid's offense, if her penalty neutralization was at start of phase instead of at start of turn. But because it's at start of turn, in Ether Raid's offense, it's basically worthless unless you're doing Gale Force, which there are a lot better mythics for that. And in Summer's duels, it's not Micaiah, so yeah. It's also useless, basically.
Yeah, I was kind of wrong about her being a bad Gale Forcer. We do have like Attack Speed Wild, which allows her to Gale Force, and Asker, which helps. My biggest problem is like, I wish she was a Gale Force engaging unit instead of like a follow-up unit, because as a follow-up unit, right, you have to get rid of her B slot, which means you have to get rid of like your Pring Wings of Mercy there probably, right? Then you're getting rid of her special, most likely, which means she's doing way less damage. She's just relying on that true damage completely. That's already two things like nerfing her a bit. And then you really don't want her A skill either, because her A skill doesn't give special acceleration. So you need the other. You need Attack Speed Wild, right? Which means that she doesn't have really a transformation skill now. You have to give her the transformation seal, which makes her even weaker. So I'm like, do I really want to use this unit? I mean, like, not only is there all those things, like I have to merge her up to +10 to use her in my case, right?
Yes.
So that's a lot of investment just to use this new mythic for me. I'd much rather just stick with Dagr, Peony, and Asker for light season. I mean, they've been working great. I don't have to do anything to change them. They already work. So,
so I don't think she's a player phase unit by design. I think this is the weird design decision they made with Ecthenir, and I think that's the closest comparison. And I think she's designed as a cleanup unit. Like that's the enemy is. I mean, everything is so bulky right now. The enemy crashes against you. You have nothing to do, and in flies Hræsvelgr, who's going to save you and kill things. Does that make her an amazing unit? I mean, it makes her an amazing nuke, but it kind of makes her a skip, which we're all skipping. Right. So,
I guess just, I don't know, for me, I've never had a problem cleaning up. If I can clean up, like it's pretty easy. I don't know if that's just me. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It's my personal experience. The thing is, for me, like I would never invest into a cleanup unit like on purpose. Yes. Like that just seems kind of exorbitant. Like I like just something so not needed. And then the second thing is like as a nuke, if that's her main role, she's only gonna fit in that role like you mentioned. Like in SD, she'll never be used because she can't stack movement bonus. Right? She gives out movement bonus, but because she's a flyer, she already has movement bonus for herself. So it's not even like it's not great. Like she's gonna be a 3 movement stuck no matter what. You can use a Cav and get 4 movement with Sigurd Ring now. So like the standard of a melee nuke is now 4 movement or some kind of extra actions or something like that. And so she's like already below average there, which is a bad place to be on release.
Right.
And it's the thing is, I thought she had enough power to be an SD unit. I really think she hits very, very hard. But yeah, they needed to make the movement stack, if only just on her. You talked about this a little bit in your reaction, but yeah, that's it needed to stack. It just the problem is you don't want it to stack with everybody because the health of the game just gets even worse. But she needed the extra movement, and that goes all the way back to what you were saying, DTM. Like she needs the Emblem Sigurd ring just to get the movement that she requires.
Yeah, 5 range is the standard that melee nukes and nukes in general are being held to right now, and so her not being able to, even with things like Sigurd Ring or other extra movement from like iGreen or anything like that, is just a really big detriment to her. And yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate, honestly. Especially because, like, she's a light mythic, right? We've talked about the problems of investing into new mythics right now. Like, you have to invest a lot to get them to the merge level so you can replace one if you're aiming for max score. And even in nuking situations or in Gale Force, like, in Gale Force, I think I would rather have Peony, Asker, and honestly, Lumera probably at this point than Hræsvelgr. Because those three all do something very special that helps a Gale Force. I don't think Hræsvelgr helps with Gale Force besides like the combat.
The place she helps with within Gale Force is if you've got a really bulky team, and I've seen, especially like this is like peak AR. You can get into some crazy teams where you actually have trouble getting enough firepower to kill everybody. And she is someone who can come in and do cleanup, whereas Asker has a lot of trouble killing things right now.
Yeah, it's true. Definitely.
So I'm not comparing her to Felix. Like that's Felix is going to be your frontliner. You're going to stack everything up on him. But sometimes even your follow-up units need to have some power. Now I'm making a case for her, but I'm also agreeing with you because I do think this is just a skip. Like that is a lot of investment on a unit for a slight upgrade. Like that's not going to be something we're all going after.
Yeah.
I do think the cleansing is nice, though. There's a lot of debuffs being thrown around right now, so having cleansing on your offensive team is nice. The Bernadette effect is really funny. I think if this was 2 years ago, I think this would have been a meta mythic immediately, right? But now we're kind of past that point where the Bernadette effect is like a really big thing you use.
I'm so lost on that. I'm just absolutely lost. Like, is there something that's coming that's going to be used on? Or was it just we'll throw this on there?
Maybe they're like, hey, you know what? Nephany needs some more help getting that Wrath damage going.
Maybe this is Ice's plan to get Vantage back. And we'll have like an Ardent Sacrifice Plus where it's like Magic Shield, except you lose HP instead of gain HP and still retain your action.
Oh, man. This is all of this is really an overarching plot to get Elder V. Because that was his absolute favorite strategy.
That is true. I mean, even if Hræsvelgr herself might not be worth pulling for, I think the beast skills that she introduced are actually pretty nice, honestly. Like Nimble Beast. Okay, maybe not Nimble Beast because I don't think there are many speedy beast units that can make use of this. Maybe just like Embla and
Nyla and Nysala. Yeah. There's a few.
Yeah, Nysala can use it in his dreams. Yeah, he's there. He's there. The A skill though, I think it's really interesting. I think this is the first time we had a beast A skill that allows an expansion of the transformation effect, which I think is really cool.
I kind of wish they just made it so that like you just transformed. Like they need to just you transform. Cool, thanks.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what if they like continue future skills like that. Yeah, too bad it wasn't on Attack Speed Wild though. It would have been really nice on Attack Speed Wild. They should have had that instead of the healing portion, honestly, for Attack Speed Wild.
Oh my gosh, they're so attached to healing, like on everything. I don't know why. Like what is their fascination with healing?
Yeah, and like I know like for follow-up units it doesn't matter, but it would have been really good on engaging units too, potentially, even if like it wouldn't work out with the HP thresholds and stuff. But yeah.
Oh man, I didn't realize how little sense that made in the context of her kit, which takes her HP down by 1 and then attack speed fortune heals it back.
Yeah. It's kind of weird, honestly.
Yep. I'm like sitting here like, what 5-brain thing is this? Like, did they think this through, or am I not thinking it through?
What do they have in the pipeline for this? Most likely, it's just.
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
I think this falls under we've talked about this a lot. We don't need absolutely busted units, but we like units that make sense because it looks like IS has actually taken some time and really poured over this and thought about what they're doing. Because, we like to be taken care of. I mean, honestly, we put a lot of time in this game and all that. And this unit seems a little weird. It just like half of everything. Oh my God, you know what this is? She's Legendary Xander.
I don't think she's that bad. Okay.
I don't think she's that bad. Yeah.
but it's in the same vein, because you know how Legendary Xander had a whole bunch of random things that didn't quite make sense together, and so they never really congealed.
I see.
Like that's in that rate. She's not as bad as. Please, Hræsvelgr fans, don't come for me. I'm sorry. Like that's that's kind of what this feels like.
Mm-hmm. I see. I get what you're saying, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
They kind of. I feel like sometimes they like try to like force new archetypes and it just doesn't exist. It's like this doesn't work. You can't just throw things together and expect it to work.
Right. I mean, I'll be completely honest. I think they just put the healing on the A skill because it matches the pattern with attack speed wild, and I guess B skills now have healing for their A skills now. That's just the thing that happens.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of beasts and dragon, and appropriate for this day, we did also get the Halloween banner since the last time we talked, and we've gotten, well, it's basically dragon and beast banners for the previous Halloweens, but we got some very interesting units this time around in terms of like Nagi with the AoE damage reduction, like as Joel said, like having that against Sigurd is really nice. We have the Gnaw with the cooldown support, and we also have like Asker, which Oblivion's community apparently thinks is an S+ unit. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I do think he's good, but I haven't actually seen any discussion on Halloween Asker really that much
really?
compared. Well, I've seen discussion, but not as much as say like Nagi or Gnaw, from what I've seen.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, I've seen the competitive server talk about him a lot, and I've used him, and he's really good. I'm tempted to give him Lagoose Spread. Like I'm pretty close to doing it.
I didn't even give him the time of day, and I randomly, when I was doing the Sigurd Felix episode, I randomly threw him into the Sims. Like, oh god, he survives everyone. This unit is ridiculous.
He's really good.
He's really good. I've been very impressed with him.
Yeah, I think he's like really, really good as like a frontline because of his tankiness and the Breath of Life support that he also gives out, I think, in his weapon. That is obviously really helping with the survivability there. And obviously cooldown support is always useful.
And DR having.
And DR having as well. Yes.
Yeah. He's a lot going on. And it has a good range too. It's like 3 spaces instead of 2, which is really nice.
Yeah. And so he's definitely like well suited for that frontline tanking role, similar to what people are using for like Hathran or Tamara as a frontline. Because with melee nukes like Emblem Sigurd and Felix, melee frontlining is rising in terms of importance, which is really interesting to see.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and he's not even the bad Omni tank either, which is like awesome.
Yeah. What about Gnaw? I've seen some differing opinions on how good Gnaw is, so I'm curious to hear what you two think about her.
She's good. I mean, she's definitely like good. Like, but is she like exceptional, right? Like, is she the armor I'm gonna be thinking about in 3 or 4 months? No, definitely not. You know what I mean? Like, I think she's solid right now, and she's like definitely usable. She has some nice support with like the times pulse stuff, which is nice. But like I prefer Nagi over her. I prefer Fjorm over her, and Myrrh over her.
That's the big one. Yeah.
So I think I even like Amelia over her, to be honest. So
I see.
She's definitely in that new era of saves though, and they're all really strong. And Shield Fighter makes any save, even old saves, strong. So I think she's good.
Right. I think it's oh, go ahead. Okay. Never mind.
2 days ago we had a video from Tacho, and he made the statement that we're at the point we've had so many banners with units that broke the mold and kept on having power spike after power spike after power spike, that we're at the point where when a unit is just good, then they're bad. Because because I'm looking at her in regards to Nagi. Nagi absolutely like shifts the entire save meta. Like she is very, very good, especially in terms of near saves. Na doesn't do that. Na's a very good unit, but she doesn't break the mold. She doesn't do anything that is as life-changing as Nagi. So that's in every mode except for Arena. And the only reason it's in Arena is because she bumps the score threshold even higher. So we're going to see her everywhere now.
I see.
Wait, does she? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
She has villager stats or whatever.
I see. Trainee stats.
Trainee.
She's the new highest scoring unit in the game. So I mean, for that matter, always bring a unit that can take out Nagi or Na rather. But that's well, sometimes I see them in pairs. But yeah, you're just gonna have to do that in Arena, which is super annoying. But Na's good. I
think with the new save skills that we have, specifically Shield Fighter, we're at the point where, again, like Oblivion mentioned, you can basically make any armor good when it comes to just like tanking things, like with Shield Fighter and either Pavis or Aegis and Slaying Axe and Marthring and maybe Future Vision, who knows? Like basically, unless the enemy can quad, which is generally very rare, you're going to be able to survive pretty much anything. And so what the value you have as a save is not just your tanking capabilities anymore. Well, it never has, but it's been definitely greatly diminished. It's more about what you can also provide besides the save and tankiness of yourself, which is why I think that Valentine's Myr is still so good to this day, because it's not about just her tankiness, which has lessened as time goes on, obviously, but it's still, obviously with Shield Fighter and everything, still more than like good enough. It's her anti-warping capabilities, and obviously Na is not that to that extent. Like Time's Pulse support is not as good as anti-warping, but I think like that value is why like people are, I guess, like talking about her, and potentially coming up with teams for it. Because I have actually seen Na when running into SDS and completely walled my Emblem Sigurd. I still remember that. I couldn't do anything to Na.
Oh yeah. She's fantastic versus Emblem Sigurd.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's so annoying. But yeah, like we're at the point where we have to evaluate saves on what support they can do besides saving, basically, and which is interesting.
I feel like folks are tired of hearing us say roll compression, but I mean, it's been this year, right? I mean, that's their theme, is that they're making these units do 7 different things, and it's nutty. And that's what we're seeing. You can't be just a good save.
I guess that goes to an interesting segue into Nagi, because we do know about Nagi and her taking capabilities. What would you say she provides outside of that saving role?
I think it's just that she's such a good save. That's like the AoE damage reduction is so clutch right now, considering how many of the melee nukes are running AoEs, right?
Right.
And Aetherite's defense and like Sigurd and SD. So
sometimes we. Sorry, go ahead. I interrupted.
No, that's pretty much it for me. Like, I mean, obviously she has like a button, which is nice, but
right.
Sometimes you just really want your save to live.
To that point, I think sometimes we underestimate the value of the button. Like I'm even seeing folks have a hard time getting duo and harmonic heroes onto their defenses, but and that's having your save be that is very, very good. But I mean in SD, sometimes just the ability to hit the button, even if it's bad, is huge. Like being able to stall is a big thing. So that's the value as a harmonic unit is kind of big. And I mean the skill itself, it's very good, but Warp Bubble and Resonant Shields here, and then neutralizing Dragon's bonuses. But I mean, and healing. It's very good. But we've seen it. I forgot all the stuff it did, and I started reading it like, oh my god,
it's so much.
This is everything. So never mind. It's an amazing harmonic skill. But we've seen these where you can only use it once, and we have so many units who, like Myr, who just constantly put out warp bubble. So, but the ability to hit the button in SD and the ability to have that availability in AR is not nothing. Like that's a big deal.
Right. I was saying on my reaction stream that Nagi's button would have been so super, super good if it has been literally any other titles besides Arcanea and Binding Blade. Because, like, those two titles, like, in terms of meta relevance, are, like, down in the gutter when it comes to units. I think literally only iGreen and Katria and Thea are like the units that are even close to meta right now, which, 3 units is not that great. So yeah, but I mean, yeah, the warp bubble is really nice, and Nagi herself is really tanky. I do think that the AoE damage reduction, being able to frontline both as near and far, again, roll compression, as we mentioned before, is, I think, one of the things that you get with Nagi that you don't necessarily get with other saves. Specifically against like the Emblem Sigurd matchup, I would imagine. But yeah.
She's a solid unit for sure.
Solid.
The thing is with saves, I don't care what anyone says. Saves die so quickly. Like I don't even. We'll see if she lasts through the end of the year. That's how much faith I have in saves. Like,
well, I mean, Valentine's Myr lasted quite a long time.
She has. That's fair. I think it's just because they put out so few saves this year until recently, right? Like, how many saves did you get until the past couple months? Like, it's
7.
It was like
7 was up until I was talking to Infantry Pulse about this. We went and counted. Like up until they went on this spree. I think Marnie was the first one, and before that we had 7 for the year. Like that's nuts.
I
7 armors.
I can only think of like 2 off the top of my head. Like Amelia and Myr. That's all I can think of.
That's all I think of too.
I had the
yeah.
list.
All good saves.
I won't bother reading it because that's. But yeah, that's the thing with armors, and I started looking at this. They like to give armors new skills that revitalize them. So I mean. You say she won't last till the end of the year, but I mean, think about Edelgard, who just keeps coming back. Like that is still a usable hero. Brave Edelgard. Brave Edelgard is still usable right now. I mean, you could have invested in her, and you could update her. And I mean, she's coming out in the new revival Hall of Forms, and I think she's going to be a great pickup there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I guess it just depends on the save. I guess it depends on the save more than anything.
The speedy saves are the ones that die quick.
You say that.
Depending on speed is tough.
And my Slaying Axe Valentine's Lucina carried me to rank 1 SDR.
Oh my gosh.
Any unit can be used in the hands of a masterful player.
Okay, I'm just going to go on a rant and say that IS should release a Slaying Axe no follow-up axe, like, in the next banner, so that I can actually get no follow-up on my Valentine's Lucina, because getting screwed over by frickin' auto follow-up or, like, Crux is so annoying. My Lucina would not have died against that frickin' Alphonse if it wasn't for the fact that I did not have NFU. Like, oh my gosh. Or remove the condition that prevents me from running Future Vision with Threema. That would also be very appreciated, IS. Please and thank you.
They're gonna be like, oh, you want a new Lucina? Here you go.
That's exactly what they'll do.
If she still has Future Vision,
Christmas
I'll be fine.
Lucina.
If she has Future
probably,
Vision, yeah. I would take it, yeah. Anyways, you know who gives out no follow-up, actually? Aided Dagr gives out no follow-up. Maybe I need to find a way to put Dagr on my team somehow. It would be terrible, but
yeah.
It's an option. I was actually genuinely thinking about running Legendary Alencia instead of Felix just for the NFU, but that was probably not worth.
I ran Alencia with Felix to give him NFU.
Yeah. That's actually pretty smart.
It was, I forgot whose idea it was. It was DHM's idea.
Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, Aided Dagr showed up with the bird. Not as big of a bird as we thought it was going to be, but still cute. It's like a little bird there. It's nice.
The one power creep we don't get. We want accessory power creep. No. You get none of that.
I mean, I think we talked about it on our stream, but it's looking like the new accessories are going to have like a similar pattern in that they're like this little like bird or floating thing in front of them. Yeah.
I guess that's the only way they can fit them on every character.
Yeah.
Which is lame.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not the only way, because they take the place of an accessory. You can't equip an accessory and an aided accessory, so they can be anywhere the regular accessories are. So there's lots of places where they could put them.
The problem is that there's heroes who can't use certain accessories, right? Like there's some that can't use the back accessories.
Right.
There's some that can't use the...
Oh, that's true.
That's why they put it in front of them, because they're like, oh, anyone can have this one. It's in front of you. It doesn't actually, you know what I mean, have to fit on the model.
I'm just saying, if they were all behind them like a huge bird, they could still all use them. So I mean, that's... All right, let us know in the comments. Are all of you tired of us talking about the bird? Because it seems like every reaction to Dagr was where's
just
the big bird?
Just bird.
Give us the bird.
I mean, we talk about other things about her besides the bird. We could talk about the art, it being amazing, and the kit being Mythic Dagr 2.0, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that we can use Pathfinder on defense is crazy. I mean, you know, double Pathfinder. We obviously had normal Pathfinder with not, but the fact that it works without having to have like an ally support is a big deal. So.
Yeah, I was originally like, when I first read it, I thought it was going to be like, you can like match defense stats and have like Pathfinder on multiple units, but no, they have a clause preventing that. It's like, why'd you have to ruin fun? I mean, I guess in terms of like balance wise, it's fine, but like, I don't know.
He's so broken. I think 5 Pathfinder team all the time. It's like, hey, did you like duo Dagr? Now it's not on a duo button. It's all the time. Thanks, IS.
Would it be broken? I just, there's so much range. It's one of those things. At this point, it feels like it would be a drop in the bucket.
I mean, like adding. I mean, realistically, you'll never add +4 every time, but even adding 3 movement to every unit in the game would be pretty strong.
That's true. I guess I've been playing too many Ether Raids maps with her, and it's like, you gave Sigurd 1 more movement. Gee, now he now he peeks out before the end of the map. Like that's I don't know.
I mean, I think like when it comes to like SD, there's a lot of ways to like spread that Pathfinder to like at least 3 units. That it's not as impactful if it was just automatically to be 5. Like Crom will just to change fate, steal the support partner, and now you have 3 Pathfinder. But yeah, I guess it's interesting.
I guess I've seen too many Shadow Shift openers.
That is
man.
Repo and then repo, and then you can cross the map all the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Shadow Shift is one hell of a drug. Like, oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you think Aided Dagr compares to Mythic Dagr in terms of that role as the Pathfinder bot, basically? I've heard some interesting discussions between the two.
I think they're pretty similar. I like that, base Dagr is a little bit more bulk overall just because of the builds you can run on her compared to what you can run on Aided Dagr, because Aided Dagr's preference is in her B slot.
Right.
But you actually need it, unlike base Dagr where it's in her weapon, right? Like the Pathfinder itself. So that's like the biggest difference. Aided Dagr can definitely hit a bit harder, and she does offer NFU support, which is definitely getting better with time, right? So
yes,
I do like that. My only problem is just like my investment in base Dagr is so much. It's a ridiculous amount of investment, right? Not only is it 10 merges, it's like a ton of fodder. So like it makes it so like, oh man, do I really want to use Aided Dagr? So like maybe if we get another map where it's like so Cav favored, where I'll run 2 Cav teams, then I'll probably put her on there. But as of right now, I'm like, leaning more towards Mythic Dagr.
Well, since Dagr's a light mythic, base Dagr, the investment in her also pays off in more areas.
True.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's that's the other thing, and I think you can argue that the new Dagr's better. I mean that's
absolutely.
Again, yeah. It's a lot of it's how much investment do you have, and we've seen that with Hræsvelgr as well, right? That seems to be the common theme. Like that's especially with mythics, but in other units as well. It's got to be something good enough for you to convince you to spend a lot of resources upgrading these units.
Yeah, and yeah, like especially with Mythic Dagr, you can, for those that buy the otherworldly bonds, you can just get a pre-built Mythic Dagr just from that and just go to town. You can get her with like Lagoo's Friend, Godlike Reflexes, Canto Control, all that good stuff. Aided Dagr does have a kit that
ATM just take over the mic. did you just suggest someone buying an otherworldly bond?
I'm not saying you have to or you should.
What is happening?
That's a rare ATM moment. I do apologize to my pure holy audience. I will no longer sin. But yeah, like. Aided Dagr, like, you can make her work with her base kit. I actually don't know she works fine. Kits people are running with her, but the fact that her preference is you need to run her preference on her B to get the Pathfinder makes it so you can't run like Godlike Reflexes, Lagoo's Friend 4, which is really unfortunate. But yeah, like Aided Dagr with the support, definitely. They're not like, it's not like a massive upgrade to Mythic Dagr, but it's still pretty nice. Overall,
yeah, I agree. I think it's she's definitely not to be slept on. She's a good unit, very good.
Yeah,
I mean, all Daggers have been historically very good.
Yeah, I think a unit that, I mean, we were very excited for her, but a unit that might be better than what we initially thought is actually Rearmed Marianne, because I've been seeing a lot of high praise for her very recently. Like we know. Her in Gale Force would have been really, really good, but there's been discussions about her on SD as well.
I hit rank 1 with her in SD, so yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, she's great. She hits harder than I expected, but she doesn't hit hard enough where like I'm relying on her to kill like Fjorm, right? Like she's not that level of nuking, right? I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea here. But she does offer some nice support, and what really makes her usable and strong in SD is the fact that her dance isn't tied to her special, it's tied to Canto, which is in her special, but the fact that it's tied to Canto itself means you can run the Micaiah Echo skill, Canto 1, right? And you can just do that. You can run a different Canto skill in her B slot if you want, or you can trigger her special, right? Any of those work. And what makes that really great is that you can do the Lucina kind of, where you're like, hey, I'm going to swap, get some positioning, and I'm going to dance somebody, right? And what makes it really crazy is that in SD, typically when you dance, right, it's kind of like a 3-part step. You have to end the turn of the person you're dancing, right? Then dance them, and then they get their action, right? With Marianne, it's just like, oh, I did the swap. Oh, I danced immediately. Like they don't get a chance to react, essentially, right? To you doing something. It's not like where like I'm gonna put this unit up and they're like, oh, I see what you're doing. I'm gonna go kill you before you get a chance to dance, or I'm gonna wait for you to dance, then I'm gonna kill you. Marianne just does it instantly, which is really nice. Like it's really great for mobility and momentum. So I think that's her strength. It's a way to
cheat action economy. You're getting 3 actions: attack, move, dance, and that for the cost of 1. I mean that's really incredible.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah. I really wished I was able to free summon her, but unfortunately it was not meant to be. But yeah, like, I mean, I was always the big Brave Marianne proponent back when she first released. Like the flexibility and being a 2-for-1 dancer was just really, really strong. Rearmed Marianne here is like the next frontier or the next evolution of that. Being able to do that from the Canto, as you mentioned, not being tied to the Spanish special, so you don't get like Scowl or No Guard, Tempo Guard shenanigans going on. You can just Canto back, dance, and then go to town. And her being a flyer means that you can run things like Soaring Echo or Guidance to help provide more mobility to your Gale Force clears. And yeah, it's just, she makes, again, like 2-for-1 dancers, it makes it like a lot, it brings a lot more flexibility to those sort of Gale Force clears.
We have to, like, of course, bring up her weakness of Canto control, but
yeah, that's true. Yes,
I found in Ethereal's offense it's like almost never a factor if you plan for it. Like I've never had a problem where like she gets Canto control because I'm just like, oh, typically the Canto control unit's in the front, right? Because you kind of need them towards the front so that way they can hit where ranged units will try to like snipe your save essentially.
Right.
So I usually just kill her or kill whoever has the Canto control. Now I mean it could be problematic if they're all the way in the back, but. That's typically not the case, and when it is that case, I just kill them. Like I just make my way that way. I'm like, okay, I'm just like, hey, I kill the front unit. Now I'm moving towards the Canto control unit, right? I just wait to use Marianne a little bit later, and because she's also more flexible with her movement, unlike Brave Marianne, you could give Brave Marianne Canto 1, but like you have to go out of your way to do it. With her, she just has it, right? So you could get her out of the way too. So it makes it so that you don't necessarily have to bring her in like super early. So I've been having a blast with her. I pretty much have been using one Marianne on each season.
Yeah, she's.
I wonder in SD the only thing for a while there we actually saw less Canto control. Like I actually attributed it to units moving through so fast that folks had trouble inheriting it on enough units.
Yeah.
But I mean, there could be there's a number of different reasons for that. But now that we're maybe moving more into a bulk meta for SD, if that happens, I think we might see more Canto control, and so that it might be a hindrance. But I'm not sitting here saying this is a bad unit because that's silly. Like this is a great unit.
Yeah, I mean, she's definitely not like a meta top tier SD unit I'm expecting to see for like months. You know what I mean? She's not going to do a Robin or something like that, but she's definitely usable. So if you like, you know what I mean? Like she has good options to be usable. So that's always nice.
Yeah. And like the more skills you invest to her, the more you can give that out to other units. And she comes with a sword mage tome thing. Why didn't we have this for the Lemon Sword? Like we could totally have done it.
Oh my gosh.
It's fine.
For real. For real. Like that could have been the easiest thing ever. And they're like, nope. Give it to Felix.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, I do think. Yeah, go ahead.
Here's my weird gripe with the sword, and I don't know if you guys have seen the whole thing on Reddit that was running around like, oh my god, look how cool my mage looks with the sword. I was all about that. I think that was great. But as far as if you're looking at this from the perspective of a new player, like, was it not confusing enough that now if you look at a unit that has a sword, oh wait, but that might be a tome, and I
didn't think about that. That's a good point. That's a very good point. I didn't think about that at all.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So I mean, maybe they're just giving up.
I mean, I thought Summer Dimitri would have been a lance just based on the sprites, but no, he's an axe. And yeah, I mean, I sort of think with like the different mage tome sprites we've had so many different ones, from like wine bottles to right, like, or baskets and things. So I think we sort of left that a long time ago. Obviously, I think for us, we've just mainly focused on like the weapon icon, like the little book, red book, or things like that. But yeah, I mean, wine bottles.
Oh man. I mean, to be fair, like if we saw Witcher Tharja, you think she's an infantry unit, but somehow she's an armor. So
that's also true. So yeah,
they do send a lot of confusing messaging.
I mean,
that's where it all started.
Yes, IS taught us early that you can't rely on sprites. You have to rely on the icons. That's the only source of truth. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how I mean, at the very least, I think Rearmed Marianne will have a long life in Gale Force teams. It'll be interesting to see how long she will last in SDS. We don't need to talk about Ashe, do we? Like, Ashe is just.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking with him. Like, they should have given it so that it worked against defensive specials. It would have been a lot better, but instead they didn't. So I don't know why.
Why did they make Ashe the 5-star and not Dorothea. That's what like surprised me the most from that banner, honestly. Like, there's no way Ashe is more popular than Dorothea. Yeah, it has to be an Ashe Dev somewhere.
Yeah. Like, this is his second preference weapon, right?
Yeah.
Here's why I don't care. Dorothea has infantry null follow-up.
That is true. Yes.
True.
I mean, just for that, she's bringing good skills to all of us, and I am all about that.
Exactly.
And they have quietly been doing a much better job about getting us higher quality skills on GHBs and demotes. So we need to give them credit for that, because we complained about that, and rightfully so, for years. They were so stingy. I mean, I still don't think we have attack speed solo on a. Is that true? Am I remembering that wrong?
I'll search that while you talk.
I think it's only on GHBs or something like that, or Grail units. I don't know. Yeah.
But for a while it was really hard. Anyway, but yeah, you guys all know they're really stingy, and this is fantastic. Like, keep this coming.
Please.
Like,
and then kick out all the old units.
They need. I mean, we've been saying for years they need to clear out the 3 and 4-star pool, and it's never been more. It's bad. It's real bad.
Yeah. It was Yarn that had attack speed solo 3 for the first time.
I'm gonna rant one more time. Why does Yarn have 3 versions? I'm just asking. How does Yarn have 3 versions and Randolph has 1? Come on, IS. That's all. I'm done.
I mean, I think Yarn has more alts than Marianne, I think, which is funny to think about. No, Ashe 3.
No, they're safe.
They're equal. They're equal. Yeah.
And he's never even got close to win Choose Your Legends.
If it wasn't for Choose Your Legends, Yarn would have had more, which is funny to think about.
Yarn Dev.
I mean, Ashe has had like more alts than Marianne until. Well, actually, hold on. How many alts does Ashe have? No, it's also 3. Okay, never mind. They're equal as well. Yeah, Ashe Dev, Yarn Dev. What's going on here? Dang. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, getting back on track, to your point, Joel, yeah, they have done a lot better jobs with I think the demotes and GHBs in general, not just in terms of the distribution skills. Like, obviously, Infantry No Follow-Up 3, just by itself, even though it's not an FU 4, is insanely strong. And, I mean, I've used Infantry No Follow-Up 3 on my Brave Female Robin to give Felix No Follow-Up. And it's, like, just being able to give that out is just really, really good. And yeah, hopefully this trend of really good GHBs or free units or like 4 stars continue. Like Marnie, I think, set a really, really good precedent for that. So hopefully we get more GHBs that can be that viable. Although maybe like Marnie was just like a fluke and I just didn't realize how good she was.
I don't think so. They've like, if I looked back through the GHBs and they've been doing a good job with those.
They have.
There's lots of stuff they don't do a good job on, but we need to give them credit when they do a good job, and they've been really killing it with GHBs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I guess in Mario's case, Shield's meta because of Shield Fighter. It all goes back to Shield Fighter.
Yeah. I mean, having Miracle for free is really nice.
That's also true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll get an actual Hardy Fighter 4? And not just Shield Fighter. I asked because no?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe, but I don't think so.
The question is, are we going to get a defensive armored special that scores? And I pray the answer is no.
I mean, it would be a premium special in that case. Yeah, it would be pretty good.
I mean, the thing about Shield Fighters, you can't really use it in Arena. Because,
right.
You know, Pavas and Aegis don't score. So that's let's pray they never try that to sell stuff.
My only inkling that they might do an actual Hardy Fighter 4 is that Shield Fighter is only 1 cooldown and doesn't have defensive NFU. Right, so I'm wondering if like we get an actual Hardy 4 with like the -2 cooldown, and has like defensive interview, but like it's basically like Hardy Fighter 3, except it works for the first Brave hit, and then like follow-up hits it doesn't activate. That's something I think they could potentially do for a Hardy Fighter 4. But I feel like for most units, Shield Fighter would overall just be better with Marthring Aegis.
I think we're gonna get Beast Hardy Fighter with either Nidhogger or Lathreder. Maybe I'm just on copium.
I mean, they are in line, so maybe
exactly.
We'll see
There's a chance. Yeah. There's a chance, right? 2 Beast Armors, so I don't know. We'll see, but I could see that happening where it's like more like a specialized skill, kind of like how dragons have like their own specialized beast skills.
Yeah, I mean we've been getting a lot of new beast skills. Beasts are finally seeing some love.
Finally, yeah.
Yeah. I guess the future remains to be seen if like those 2 OCs bring in more beast love. We've been talking for I think around an hour and 10 minutes about now, but is there anything else we wanted to discuss before we end it off?
I mean, we have a Ninja Banner coming up soon, so that's something to look forward to.
That's true.
Definitely try to save some orbs. Ninja Banner has historically always had one really powerful nuke on it, all the way from like Duo Lin to Corrin to, I guess Ledyard was she was strong, but she wasn't like meta strong.
It was Ninja like Camilla that was actually the star, I think.
yeah. And then Sonic E. So I think, definitely save orbs for that. That's one thing to consider. Also the double legendary or mythic or emblem, whatever it is, gonna be at the end of November, and the new book coming. So there's things to look forward to. People definitely be excited about that. Other than that, I guess also we have refines coming with Thor, and I'm please RNGesus give Thor a good refine. Oh my god!
Actually, is it out right now? The remixes?
Is it?
I don't know.
You mean like the announcement?
I got a message from Satoshi saying something about.
Gosh. Maybe they are then.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Ooh, okay. Let's talk about these really quick.
Okay.
Obviously, we can't talk about it much in depth before we actually get like the full refines and stuff. Where are they? Hello?
I think I found it.
Odor's having attack defense excel. That's interesting. Now he can actually be fodder.
Oh wow, that's really good fodder.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So we got guard bearing on Thor, which is a little bit old, but okay.
Guard bearing 4. Okay.
We have World Breaker Plus. Allies within 2 spaces of unit can move to any space within 2 spaces of unit. So we have
Omni. Yeah, Omni guidance.
Attack defense and resistance +5 and special cooldown charge +1 per attack, and grant special cooldown count -2 to unit before unit's first attack during combat.
Wait. Wow. That's actually really good already.
So you got stats, special acceleration, and 2 special jump. Okay, wow. Okay.
This makes...
yeah. Good.
I was about to say, this just makes Gale Forcing with her initiating
better.
Really super consistent. Like, so consistent. And people were already using Thor to counter, like, the infantry pastas by her being flying and being able to warp in front on the mountain tile to pass the ice thing. And so I feel like this would also just enhance that as well. That's crazy.
That's not even the end of it. That's not even the end of it.
Oh?
Grants attack, defense, and resistance +4 and special cooldown acceleration to allies within 3 spaces now instead of 2. And gives special jump 1 to those allies before their first attack. That is
Thor
a remix.
Bros. We're back.
That is a remix. Wow. Oh my god. Let's go. Wow, that's way better than I thought it would be. I thought they might give her like a little bit of special jump for herself. I did not expect her to give special jump support and special acceleration. Like, she is the Gale Force queen again. I mean, obviously we have to see her refine. We have to see what her weapon does, but this is a really strong start.
Yes. Oh my gosh. That's insanely strong. What?
Oh my gosh. Do you want me to do Brutal Shell as well?
Yeah, let's do Brutal Shell.
I don't know if
what does Odor have?
So we have Brutal Shell, so 3 cooldown special. At start of turns 1 through 4, he gets special cooldown count -3, so he gets to pre-charge it still.
Yeah.
When special triggers, he boosts damage by 50% of his defense. Oh no, greater of units or foes' defense. So it's a little bit adaptive there to like, whoever has better defense. That's cool. And then if unit or foe special is ready or triggered before or during combat, you get 40% non-pierceable damage reduction. Once per combat, no AoE. So it's kind of like an armored beacon or armored shell or something like that.
Yeah, I see.
This is okay.
he's gonna get the Sather treatment. Sather's was a little bit okay as well.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest. If it's between Thor and Odor, I'm picking Thor every time.
100%. Thor is part of my Astra core, so I mean, I am. You can't hear it in my voice, but I'm jumping up and down right now.
Right.
Nice, yeah. I mean, obviously, we still have the refine on the weapons, but just like,
right.
I don't know what they could give to Odor to make him actually good as an anima mythic. I'm gonna be completely honest.
I don't. 5 movement.
Probably they have to do that, yeah. But yeah, Thor, like, just from that, she's already primed and ready to go. Like, yeah, wow.
She needs like DR piercing in her or having in her weapon or something like that.
Yeah, DR piercing or having.
Like, if they stopped there, if they just stopped at World Breaker Plus, this would be excellent.
It's already. It's a strong start. It's a really strong start.
Wow.
The other refines are Pirate Tibarn, which I'm very excited for. Thor Rabba, I don't know how to pronounce her name. Shamir, and then Odor and Thor. Finally, after a million years, we have Jill. Thank RNGesus. Jill is finally here. And then we also have Guinevere, but that's fine. Whatever. Who cares? It's about.
Dang, all 5 Guinevere fans are gonna get offended by that statement.
all 5 of them.
This is why Liliana got her legendary first, by the way. Just FYI.
Yes. I'm very excited. Thor, Jill, and Tibarn in one batch. Hopefully they're the winners because those are the ones I care about. But I'm very, very, very excited.
Yeah, I guess
they'll finally add Marnie, so you guys can get her up to +10. We've been talking about it the entire time.
Yep. And remember to become a member to Oblivion's channel to meet the +10 Marnie goal. We need to see
let's not do that one. You guys can get like 19 and then stop.
Panette's art's being adjusted. What? Okay, I literally can't tell the difference.
I feel like that's every case. Like, it's so not obvious in the slightest. You will now be able to equip aids on multiple heroes.
Wait, what?
The ability to equip aid accessories onto multiple heroes at once is being added. Enjoy equipping matching accessories on the heroes bestowed with aid.
Oh, so basically, if you have one like accessory, you can give it out to any units with the.
Everyone can have
the
a bird.
Essence. Yeah, everyone can have a bird. All right, Dagger's back to being.
It's already like that.
No. Before it's only one.
Only one unit, but now you can have like a whole team of 5, all with birds. Yeah.
Yeah, you can already do that.
No, you can equip the accessory to multiple people, but you can't have them all having a bird at the same time.
I thought you could have multiple. I thought I had a team with multiple birds on at one time, but that's
maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. But yeah, I'm excited.
That's exciting.
I'm jumping up and down.
All right, so Dagger's bird has now risen back to top tier, so that's good to see. I guess. Just
you can have a zoo.
Yeah. Oh man, wow. Okay, I'm already like thinking about like the remixes and stuff. This is going to be very interesting. Unfortunately, obviously, we can't talk about the full refines, but we'll have to wait until the next episode. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to make sure you're notified of whenever the next podcast installment comes out. Do you have any final words to our audience before we end it off?
Okay,
Jill
one
top
thing.
tier, Thor top tier, Pirate Tibarn top tier, best units.
It is, we always get a light or an Astra mythic for the new hero. But this year, we just got both a light and an Astra mythic. And so there is a possibility that something is different going on. So I'm not saying it is.
Emblem?
You guys know IS does weird things, but
Emblem?
New hero type.
Would they give out an emblem on a new heroes banner potentially?
Like a new hero would be. The new book hero would be an emblem.
Oh. Emblem Alphonse.
Wait, hold up.
Why did I say that? Now I'm forgetting my hopes.
I could see either Emblem Alphonse or Emblem Veronica. Honestly, it would probably be Veronica.
Probably Veronica,
yeah.
I like Veronica more.
And she's like the actual emblem, yeah.
And this is, I have nothing to base this off of. This is all sorts of tinfoil hat. But just, I mean, keep an eye on that because that's a little, that's why I was so surprised that she was a light mythic. Because I thought this was all setting up for the new book hero to finally be a light mythic because we had like two Astras in a row.
Right.
So, but that's, I just keep an eye on that. That's interesting. We might have something different for the new book hero.
All right. I guess we'll have to keep an eye out for that. Thank you, Joel. You now have that is now living rent free in my mind right now. Yeah. Let us know down in the comments what your thoughts are on the past month of editions and what you speculate on the future. And yeah, thank you too, as always, for joining. Always super fun as always. And yeah, hope you all have an amazing rest of the day. And
make sure to hit the bell because YouTube notifications are about as good as Odor's Refine is going to be.
Dang, okay. I wasn't going to go that far, but you know. All right. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.
Good night.